Hello and welcome to another edition of Time About the Movies Flashback. And today we're looking at the weekend of October 28th, 1988. And just going to be honest with you, this could be a really quick one because we only have one movie to look at today. It's not a film that really is something that people remember, but if I told you the name of it and what the film was about, if you grew up around that time, you probably knew exactly what it was. But let's talk about this film. Rebecca De Mornay and Mary Gross in the comedy Feds.
In 1932, the United States government opened the FBI Training Academy. But what the Founding Fathers had in mind, welcome to the FBI, put your weapons on the ground, was not Ellie DeWitt.
I don't like this, you get respect.
Or Janice Zuckerman. For DeWitt, it's going to take initiative.
You guys in a gang or something?
I don't think you've got a prayer. For Zuckerman, it's going to take a miracle.
FBI, freeze! Gumball.
If they're going to become federal agents,
Come on, we're young, we're single, we're heavily armed.
it's going to require a lot of teamwork. Double action or single action?
Double or single? Whatever. You know my taste.
A lot of field work.
Got a tattoo?
Yeah, I got a tattoo.
Whip it out.
And a lot of footwork.
It's kind of cute. You're a sociopath.
DeWitt and Zuckerman, together, they just might graduate the toughest course known to woman.
FBI, freeze!
Rebecca De Mornay
I hope the people of the United States of America will be able to sleep better knowing that women like us have guns.
and Mary Gross,
You talking to me? You're kidding. I didn't think so. It's law enforcement.
Feds.
So Fed stars Rebecca De Mornay and Mary Gross. Now, if you never saw Saturday Night Live in the early 80s, you probably don't realize that Mary Gross was formerly of the cast of that era, and quite frankly, I really couldn't blame you because, of course, mid-80s, especially the 1980s, early on, it was not the best time for Saturday Night Live. But once they got past the first season of the 80s, I mean, they really slowly but surely it found its way back. Eventually, in fact, by this point, SNL was really starting to come back on its own. But we're not talking about SNL. But Mary Gross was one of those people that was involved early on in Saturday Night Live. In fact, came on when the show was getting back on track in 81 and left in 85. And, of course, after you do SNL, you make the quick jump over to the movies. And she's been in a couple of movies before this one, but this, I think, was one of the first attempts to really get her as a leading actress. But she never really, honestly, branched down into that. But she did have a lasting career overall. She did a lot of movies and TV shows. Most notably, she's known for her work on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She's also done stuff for Animaniacs, Boston Legal, That's So Raven, 6 Feet Under. But like I said, this was kind of around the time when they were trying to see if they can make her the next big movie star to come out of Saturday Night Live, and the result was not as successful as they probably hoped it would be. And as far as Rebecca De Mornay goes, you pretty much know who she is by this point. Of course, by this point, she had done stuff like Risky Business, she was in Testament, The Slugger's Wife, Runaway Train, The Trip to Bountiful, so people had pretty much known who she was up to this point. And, as far as this film goes, it has potential. It definitely feels like a precursor to The Heat, which came out, of course, 25 years later. And actually, there's been claims that this was the first female buddy cop movie when everyone thought The Heat was the first one in that subgenre. But like I said, this came 25 years before that. And it's interesting because this was made during a cycle when American cop comedies came after the success of Police Academy, including the sequels, Night Patrol, Movie Violations, Offbeat. But a lot of people also forget that this is also the time that we also had stuff like 48 Hours and the Lethal Weapon movies, Midnight Run. I mean, I felt like that's kind of where they were going with here. And it's interesting because you have some people here that you recognize from their works. They got the writers of Meatballs and Stripes. The director of this is Dan Goldberg, one of the co-writers here. And they couldn't get... Even though Ivan Reitman's name is not on here, I think that is kind of what led to this movie not living up to the height that they could have had with it. And they also were going to try to get Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd to be in it, but they didn't do it. But then again, Dan Aykroyd did Spies Like Us, which is kind of similar to what this movie ended up becoming, honestly. So they basically decided mid-script to change it to a female-focused film. And for the most part, the movie, I think, works fine as it is, but it definitely really could have been a whole lot better if they had gotten some better people to make this work. I mean, Rebecca De Mornay is a good actress. Mary Gross is a fun comedic actress, but their chemistry really doesn't work as well as I think it should. I mean, they're trying their best with the material given to them, but then again, they just don't really have a whole lot there to do. It is kind of a generic script, honestly, and I think that really hurts the film overall. It has the kind of writing that's not really as strong as it should be. The overall aspects of the film are pretty standard for the most part. You can pretty much tell where the movie is going to go from this point, and it doesn't really do anything different to make it kind of stand out. Like films like Midnight Run and the Lethal Weapon movies did a pretty good job of keeping the distance from one another, so they weren't trying to straight up copy 48 Hours and make themselves unique or different. Even something like Police Academy was at least trying to do something different and unique, and this film didn't really do all that. I mean, I don't know who you really could have gotten to do this at the time to really make this work. I mean, maybe Beverly D'Angelo would be one. I would have probably put in the Mornay role, and then I don't know who you would put in the Mary Gross role. Maybe, I don't know. Two names really come to mind here: Molly Ringwald and Leah Thompson, who were big names at that time. I think maybe those would have worked out, but then again, really, it just comes down to the script. You have to have a much better script than this to really make this work. And like I said, Mornay and Gross aren't bad in this. They're trying their best with the material given to them. The material given to them is not really all that clever, honestly, either. But it also doesn't help that the movie is really too short, which is not usually a complaint that you would say for a film like this. I mean, this is only an 82-minute movie. It's not even an hour and a half. And it just feels like it kind of rushes and not really much is going on in here to really get you invested in this when it's all said and done. I don't know, like, this is a film that I really think could have been a whole lot better, maybe with a better script, maybe if they gotten Ivan Reitman to put his name on this, and actually have him come in and say, hey, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. If Reitman's name was on this probably would have worked a whole lot better, but as it is, it's okay, but it's nothing really that's going to make you want to watch this over and over again. Like, for a one-time watch, I'm glad I saw it, but it's not really one that I want to watch over and over again. And you can see these people in much better movies. The two leads, they're in much better films. These people that wrote and directed the film have made much better movies. This one's just not it. It's one of the few misfires from the people involved in here. Not much more to say about this one, so, yeah, that's Feds for you. So that's going to wrap this edition of Time About the Movies Flashback. We'll head back to October 21st next time with Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. We also have Michael Caine in Without a Clue. Julia Roberts in one of her early film roles, Mystic Pizza, Bat 21, Things Change, Tapeheads, and The Lair of the White Worm. So 7 movies we'll look at. Actually, yeah, 7 movies we'll look at next time. I just had to double check just to make sure. But we'll look at those 7 films on the next episode. But thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more of these videos, check out the playlist, check out the previous episode. Also, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. And also check out a new Time About the Movies episode that was posted earlier tonight. So with that said, thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys next week for another episode. So until then, take care.